Hey everyone, it's Jody Sutter of the Sutter Company, and it's Just Ask Jody. It's that time when I take a question from an agency around an issue they're having with business development, and I'll answer that question in 4 minutes or less. And today the question is, what tips do I have for grabbing the attention of the audience at the start of a pitch meeting? So I think I understand the motivation behind this question. My assumption is that the agency that's asking this question would really like to make sure that as they open up the pitch meeting, that they start with something memorable because they know that they are probably one of several agencies, maybe more than several agencies, who are going to be meeting with a client over the course of the day or the next few days. And so how do they make sure they start strong and they start memorably? So let me start by telling you what I don't want you to do. What I would not advise you to do is to spend a lot of time thinking about how to be theatrical. I think sometimes agencies feel like if they had some sort of bold move at the beginning of a meeting, some theatrical gesture, that this would be memorable and impressive, and it would go a long way to persuade the client to work with them. Now, I think in my career, I have heard and have been responsible for some well-produced, well-executed theatrical, I'm just going to call them stunts, openings, closing, in the middles of pitch meetings. And when done well, they can be great. But I personally am not a big fan of them. Think that it can take away from the content of the meeting, and especially if you're doing it as a way to substitute for great content and well-rehearsed presentation, then I think it can actually often backfire. So I always say steer away from like a really attention-grabbing theatrical gesture at the beginning of a pitch meeting and focus more on the overall quality of the content that you're presenting throughout the pitch meeting. And some really boring basics apply, like, are you thinking about your audience members? Are you creating or crafting the content based on what they are craving to see or hear or learn from you? Are you providing them just enough as opposed to too much or too little? Is it well paced? Are you making some smart editing decisions? Are you rehearsing thoroughly? So I'd rather see you spend time on that than thinking about strong ways to grab the attention. Now, having said that, I will just mention that a classic way of opening a presentation or opening a talk or a speech, and you've probably been witness to this before, is with a good story. And you see people do that on TED Talks. You've probably seen that in numerous speeches that you have sat through, or really great presentations that you've been a part of or you've been in the audience for. So storytelling has a few potent advantages. Number one, as the speaker, telling a story at the beginning can really help you feel a little bit more relaxed. It eases you into the content. From the audience perspective, we as an audience instinctually connect to stories. So instinctually, we seek to relate the content of a story to our own lives. We can't help it. It's part of our DNA. We love stories. So by telling a story at the beginning, you can foster this emotional engagement that maybe you wouldn't do in another way. But having said that, also, I would say make sure your story is relevant, make sure it's well crafted and well rehearsed, well told. So that would be the best way, the most classic way of grabbing attention at the beginning of a presentation, is by telling a story. And if you're not going to do that, what I would say is just focus on really great content and strong presentation. Stay away from the theatricality. That's it for this Just Ask Jody. If you've got a question you'd like to ask me, have me answer on another Just Ask Jody, you can email that to me at jody@thesuttercompany.com.